This is the brief on qualitative frameworks in educational technology. Welcome to another Okinawa Jolt podcast episode, where we're looking at why, ever since that massive 2020 shift to remote learning, we desperately need better ways to evaluate the digital tools we keep throwing at students. First, let's talk about the limits of traditional numbers. Pre-test and post-test studies work beautifully in a sterile science lab, but in a chaotic classroom, they completely fail. Trying to reduce the messy human experience of language learning down to a single strict metric is literally like trying to understand an entire animal just by looking at its toe. You completely miss the big picture. Second, instead of those rigid metrics, we can turn to complexity theory. This is a holistic alternative that actually embraces the messiness. Have you ever wondered why a student suddenly gives up on a supposedly user-friendly app? Well, it's the butterfly effect in action. A tiny variable, kind of like a confusing interface or even poor typing posture, can cascade into a massive learning roadblock. Finally, how do we actually map all that messiness? Enter cultural historical activity theory, or CHAT. Think of CHAT as the ultimate reverse engineering diagnostic map. If a piece of tech totally bombs in the classroom, CHAT helps us trace the exact point of breakdown, whether it's the learner, the tool itself, the goal, or the classroom rules. So by ditching rigid science lab metrics and embracing holistic frameworks like activity theory, educators can finally figure out why digital tools fail and how to fix them. Ultimately, the best way to understand technology in the classroom isn't to count the data, but to look at the whole human experience.